Hi, my name is Alexandra Hudson, and thank you for being part of the Civic Renaissance community. This is my son, Percival. He turns 1 year in just a few days, 1 year old. And I was reading to Percy from Emily Wilson's translation of Homer's Odyssey this morning. It's a book that I've never read before, never read this translation before, and I've just loved it. I've absolutely loved it. Percy's really enjoyed it. He's really enjoyed the beautiful the beautiful poetry, the poetic, vivid language. And what I realize is that the Odyssey, it's all about civility. It's all about having a disposition of realizing our duties to others. What do we owe the stranger? What do we owe the gods? What do we owe our fellow citizens? And I've been reflecting on this concept of hospitality. To the Greeks, this was called xenia. And it meant both, it was a word that governed the guest and host relationship. And it's a word that means stranger and also friend. We're familiar with this phrase, a stranger is just a friend you haven't met yet. It's one my mother, one my grandmother really embodied and modeled for me growing up. And it's funny that this Greek word literally encapsulates both of that exact ethos, that's the same word for stranger and friend. And time again, we see people who show hospitality to the downtrodden praised. And we see people that are unfriendly to the stranger, unfriendly to those in need, who ridicule the poor, and as portrayed as cruel, and that they're punished, and they're not certainly not praised. And I want to reflect on that in this in maybe even my book more broadly. What can we learn about hospitality and civility and from the Odyssey, and how does that relate to our own lives? How do we bring about a disposition of civility and hospitality in our everyday? And how might that be a tool of renewal and healing in our world? These are the kind of things I'm thinking about and reflecting on, and I'd love to hear from you. What do you think about the fact that we have a word that means guest, stranger and friend? Actually, it's also, of course, where we get the word xenophobia from. That's a word that we hear a lot today, but in the original form, a stranger wasn't necessarily something to fear. It was just an opportunity to show someone in need kindness and benevolence. And what might that concept mean for us today? How might we live our lives differently in light of that? So I'd love to hear from you, and thanks for being a part of the Civic Renaissance community. Bye, Percy.